The following is a presentation of TFNN. The Power Trading Hour with your host, David White. Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648 or internationally at 727-873-7618. Now, David White.
And welcome all to another excellent edition of the Power Trading Hour. And as always, it's when you and I are together at this time.
The following takes place between 2 p.m. and 3 p.m.
So what do we have going up today? Well, we're up almost 50 points on the S&P cash. Now the question is, what are we doing for volume out here on the CBOE consolidated tape? About 7 billion shares, so 7.1. Don't have the Fed to blame out here today for fairly light volume. Maybe the summer that we can talk about it. A lot of people that got short yesterday, got short this morning too, and are getting run out. And then we're going to go, of course, into the weekend. My guess is that they are probably going to hold the market up through fund buying next week. So we've got the big markup here and probably a lot of distribution into next week. But it looks to me like, what's the date here? Okay. So the first is on Monday. And generally, if you read the charters on most of these ETFs, they say something between the last 2 days, first 3 days of the month. Some of them say last 3 days, first 2 days of the month, but they're somewhere in there. And of course, no one's ever gone to jail or been fined for buying on the fourth day or the fifth. But generally what they'll do coming on a weekend is they're not big fans of buying into Friday's close. They'll wait till Monday and not have any hangover. But that does not mean that they won't mark stuff up. And as long as we continue to have huge short sellers selling this pop, that'll probably go a little bit higher. I was fairly bearish just because of the light volume going into the Fed meeting. I'm not exactly sure what everybody thinks that they're seeing here, but you know, in the light volume, you can have big moves, feast and famine. Of course, we don't have the volume, and if you're a Wyckoff trader, they always tell you to take the volume as it comes. I don't know if I'm that forgiving and handicapping of volume on summertime days. I don't give it as much weight, but I don't give it no weight out here for lighter volume. But we'll see how this comes in. But you know, could they keep it up, you know, around this area, 4050, 4100 into Wednesday of next week? Well, if you're a 401k owner, a sucker never gets an even break. And of course, that's when all the cash comes in at the same time, and they can mark it up at the highest levels and make sure that you get it at the most expensive prices generally of every month. And of course, we've kind of done a lot here. Don't really have a lot, you know, we've got some of the big leaders, but kind of whistling past the graveyard with many of these companies that have reported weaker earnings than forecast, and are probably going to have weaker earnings for the next 2 quarters, in my opinion. Yet everybody thinks that we've got some kind of V bottom out here in the market. So I continue to be cautiously worried that we're going to have one more move lower. I thought maybe there was a chance that if we went lower first, that we'd be able to hold 3750. My guess is if we head down there now, after this big move, that it will blow right through those levels. Anyway, you can give me a call, 877-927-6648. Where's that thumb been, Steve? And what else do we have? We've got emails already coming in. Yes, okay. Yeah, well, good enough, Jay. Aether Systems. And see what else do we have out here. We got about 3 minutes. Let's go ahead and do a little history, and then we'll get into charts for the rest of the show. You can always give me a call too, or email me at path@tfnn.com.
There it's all just a little bit of history repeating.
On this day in 1996 in Atlanta, Georgia. That's a state in the United States if you live in Lutz. The XXVI Summer Olympiads are disrupted by the explosion of a nail-laden pipe bomb in Centennial Olympic Park. The bombing, which occurred during a free concert, killed a mother who had brought her daughter to hear rock music and injured more than 100 others, including a Turkish cameraman who suffered a fatal heart attack after the blast. Of course, within a few days, the FBI circled in on someone who didn't do it and spent a whole year making his life hell. Richard Jewell. They made a movie about him and the rush to judgment. Not too uncommon in these big cases. And they ended up, when they dug through all the paperwork, during his lawsuit against the government, it was kind of a treasure trove, and I think they just rolled over at the end and gave him $5 million for his trouble. They kind of early on knew it wasn't him and didn't really care. They wanted somebody to pin it on. So when we see these TV shows where they seem to be a little bit jaded for political reasons, it actually happens. Anyway, he was under investigation for the crime. Evidence against him was dubious at best. They didn't like him because he was a little off, a little bit of a loner, but got a lot of money, got a nice wife, but spent too much money on ribs and barbecue and died when his daughter was 6. But got to leave her a lot of cash. Courtesy of the FBI, and it all started on this day in 1996. Okay, so what do we have? Let's get back to some charts here. A lot more earnings, and of course, a lot of times it's not what everybody says, it's how everybody reacts to it. I'm just kind of flabbergasted that they think that Powell's going to roll over as quickly as everybody thinks that he's going to. My guess is we get yet another 3/4% rate hike at the next meeting. I don't think that he's going to be sanguine except for the couple of months right in front of the election. We'll be back in a minute.
Of booming inflation, where your purchasing power is eroded, there's no better place to protect your hard-earned money than in gold. Vista Gold's flagship asset is the Mount Todd Gold Project in the Northern Territory of Australia. This is Australia's largest undeveloped gold project. We are talking a world-class gold project in a Tier 1 mining district. This is a large-scale, low-cost project with significant existing infrastructure in a politically safe and friendly mining jurisdiction. Vista Gold just completed the Mount Todd feasibility study, which resulted in a 7 million ounce gold reserve and a 16-year mine life. All of this, combined with the approvals of all major operational as well as environmental permits. This distinguishes Mount Todd as an attractive, de-risk partner, ready development stage gold project. Vista Gold trades on the New York Stock Exchange under the symbol VGZ.
Are you grinding in the market, but seeing little to no return? Or are you a successful trader, simply looking to make your job a little easier? Learn to take the path of least resistance with David White's powerful trading newsletter. David White is an accomplished trader whose deep understanding of technology and the markets allows him to consistently find and share winning trades. Support and resistance define the ranges in which stocks trade. By understanding these trading ranges, David White is able to find the path of least resistance. David White's trading newsletter, The Path of Least Resistance, is delivered daily before the markets open to make every trading day an easy win. Visit TFNN.com today and subscribe to David White's Ultimate Trading Newsletter for $119 a month. And try all of our newsletters risk-free with our 30-day money-back guarantee. Take the path of least resistance at TFNN, educating investors. Are you looking for a way to consistently add winning trades to your portfolio? Tom O'Brien is here to help. Tom O'Brien has been successfully trading markets for over 30 years. A frequent contributor to TD Ameritrade Network and CNBC, Tom O'Brien founded TFNN over 20 years ago to help educate investors just like you. Tom's daily market newsletter, Market Insights, is published every morning when the markets open to give you the competitive informational edge you need to succeed. These newsletters are packed full of Tom's advanced technical analysis and are geared to deliver comprehensive strategies for a successful portfolio. Get Tom O'Brien's newsletter, Market Insights, today and try all of our products and newsletters 30 days risk-free with our money-back guarantee at TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors.
Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-873-7618.
Yep. Okay, what do we have in gold? Well, you have a little bit of a proof of life here on a gap higher. You don't have all the volume you would like. I think a great deal of this was a deal on a fairly large spending bill, a couple of them. And, of course, just figure that it's hugely inflationary at these times. I don't have any insight on whether both or either one of these bills will actually make it, although I hear that there's a deal. So who knows? Everybody likes to spend money before elections, so we can take a look and see about that. But, you really don't have much in the way of volume here. But, you got spenders, and you got an election. So it's kind of hard to be incredibly bearish on gold. I would like for it to come back down to the 3x3 on light volume and kind of really prove that this, once again, is not Lucy with the football, and we are all Charlie Brown. Other things going on out here, questions about the usual suspects, which we will go to already. Advanced micro devices, a little bit of a pop. Again, not a lot of volume so far today. My guess is that you're up against real hard resistance at about $92. Got to 91.69 now. 90 million shares, which is, not bad. In the previous high back on the 21st of the month. But you got that gap down on on 98 million shares, and you test it again with 90. So it's not as bad as one might think. To take a look at the other ones out here. NVDA. And I was actually suspecting that they may be much higher because I have the usual AMD and NVIDIA haters emailing me all morning about how it was going to drop $10 today. So I'm figuring that it was going to be up $10. But NVIDIA going into a 55 million share high today with about 34. It's weaker. The weaker of the two of those. Have somebody asking about Tesla out here. And again, a lot of these stocks right at major resistance levels. For Tesla, we're looking at the 9th of May. This gap down with about a little over 30 million shares. Today, you're into it with 21 million shares so far. So could you get 25 out of it? You probably could. It's not horrible. It's not half. But probably going to take a little while to chew through it. The best thing that could happen for Tesla is everybody start yelling and screaming more about Elon Musk and getting other people to short it for them. This thing's it's had a long history of not going down till everybody shut up about it going lower and being something else. I didn't think that it could ever last this long as a cult stock, but it continues to do so. Okay, Microsoft. I have no idea why everybody's bidding this thing up, but they are. They've bid it up into the previous high of June 1st, 277.69 with 25 million shares. You already got 22 million shares. I guess everybody just believes that over the couple of months that the Fed's not raising rates in the election, that we're going to go hog wild. I don't know. I am more worried that we head lower, because I suspect with all this energy now that sets us up for much lower prices. Like I said, not in the next few days, but over time. Micron, another one on the list of everybody's looking at. Not so much of a move out here today. So I don't know. Looking ahead to earnings, and Apple just hanging out with a doji out here into the gap down on the 9th of May. That was 131 million shares. Today we're up into that with 42 million shares. Maybe they announced some new products in September. Maybe someone already heard about it. I'm just not thinking that anybody's too excited about Apple as of late. Of course, probably the person who's least excited about Apple is the head of Metamucil himself, as we test the previous lows with higher volume already today. Meta is attacking the June 23rd low. That had 47.6 million shares at 145.25. You got within 50 cents of it this morning on that, and you had more volume, so I suspect you're going to have more of it. Between Meta and Google, these bigger companies are holding up a little bit better than one would think, but the earnings were not good, and the forecasts were not good. And again, a lot of these stocks are in these trading ranges, which is another reason that I suspected that if you're bullish, you wanted these stocks to wash out to the bottom and have low volume, not pop and have light volume as they went higher. You had some volume yesterday, but not really much going on. And when you dig into what they actually had to say, it's not that great. Again, I suspect a lot of this is for window dressing. And of course, on Monday and Tuesday, Wednesday, look for them to put a little bit of lipstick on this pig.
Let's put some lipstick on this pig.
Well, that's what I said. Okay, other things going on out here. The TLT, not much action in it, although a lot of people talking about it on Financial Infotainment TV and prognosticating a whole lot of nothing, really, over the last kind of 2 or 3 days. I would worry about it if it does close below the next 3x3 and you could start seeing some acceleration. I do suspect that we're in a trading range back down to 112 on the TLT. Question from Mike on Planeteer, PLTR. Did have a nice kind of move, but it's just doing nothing out here. Just kind of a sinusoidal move. We already talked about gold. If you'd like, or I would like, a pullback at least back close to the 3x3 now. But again, you get a lot of spending bills. Maybe that's what gold's been waiting for. But hard to say. You got a nice pop today. We'll be back in a minute.
If you want to take advantage of this sector, now is the time to subscribe to my Gold Report. The Gold Report is a comprehensive look at the metals sector as well as the markets that move gold, which is the currency and bond markets. New subscribers get a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to lose. Every Monday morning, I publish the Gold Report with coverage of gold, silver, bonds, the XAU, HUI, GDX, as well as more than 30 different mining equities. To see for yourself the types of profitable trades that are recommended within the Gold Report, sign up now by visiting TFNN.com. Don't miss out on the next great gold trade. Sign up today.
Sharpening your skills as an investor is like getting better at playing a musical instrument. You have to practice, sure, but you also need excellent instruction from experts. At TFNN, you'll get advice and guidance from the authority in technical market analysis. And it's not just dry, tedious text either. TFNN airs live financial content streamed live on TFNN.com and TFNN's YouTube channel with Tiger TV, live every market day from 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern. For free. Each host is an experienced trader and gives their take on the market while taking calls and questions live from around the world. From the moment the market opens until the closing bell sounds, Tiger TV has 8 different shows with expert hosts to help you make the right moves with your money. Watch online at TFNN.com or on TFNN's YouTube channel and become the investor you were born to be. TFNN, educating investors.
TFNN is excited about our new software charting program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts. In collaboration with Tom O'Brien and using his best-selling book, The Art of Timing the Trade, Your Ultimate Trading Mastery System, David White has programmed an outstanding piece of software that will complement any trader's methodology. Using this first-of-its-kind program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts allows you to scan thousands of stocks for Fibonacci formation setups, including Gartley's, ABC's, butterflies, and much more. The Art of Timing the Trade Charts is designed to help you when scouring the markets for stocks just beginning to form the trading patterns that many investors spend days, weeks, or even months searching to find. And right now, we're offering licenses available at only $79 a month. We are so confident that you're going to love this new charting software that will even give you a 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee. Don't miss out on this incredible new piece of software. Get your copy of The Art of Timing the Trade Charts today by visiting TFNN.com.
This segment is brought to you by Thinkorswim. For more information, just click the Thinkorswim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
And as we return, and I wake back up, we're watching a market already in progress over most of TFNN. Let's go ahead and update this just so I make sure. Okay, so we're up 46 points on the S&P cash. We'll watch that volume very closely here. And we looked at most of them. We wanted to start looking at what is going to be after the bell tonight. Amazon, of course, is another one. as we look forward today. It's hard to actually be short Amazon into the fall. I don't know if people are starting to front run this thing. Big rate hikes for Prime in Europe, following the ones we had, but I mean really like double what we had for I think was it in February or March? They moved it up from like $12 to $15 or $16. So it was a pretty nice one, but I think it went from like $15 to $25 over in Europe. Pretty high. You don't have a whole lot out here, kind of just drifting higher. Had a nice range into today, but certainly don't have a lot of volume, but I don't put a lot on that. Intel, of course, also out after the bell. I don't expect a lot happening. They've spent a lot of energy in the last quarter starting to release their new video cards to compete with AMD and NVIDIA. So far, fairly lackluster results, although they hired some smart people from both NVIDIA and AMD in the video card business to push this out. They've been making the rounds of YouTube influencers, but so far not a lot of takers. But even then, they released it in China for about a month before they even started showing them off here in the United States. Not sure about that. Vale or Valley or Valet, depending on what country you actually call this company. I called them in 3 different companies, Canada, U.S., and Brazil, and they all say their name a different way. So don't climb on me about it. But you got to think that even the companies themselves would know how to pronounce their own name. You're back up to the 11th gap down for July. That came down on 41 million shares. Today you're in there for about 18 million shares. It just seems kind of a light bounce so far, but again, in front of earnings, maybe not a lot of people trying to get in front of it. L3 Harris, the company that ended up buying up my company, Harris actually, not L3, has been in this kind of triangle, which I thought we'd bust out of with all the action last day. We haven't on a great deal of them. They're still in these slightly lower highs and slightly higher lows of so many of the stocks out here. But no real clue on that one going into earnings. Yum China, YUMC. With all the lockdowns, it's hard to think that these guys are going to do very good. But, of course, that's probably baked in. You really have to kind of like that 43.50 area where they've got it a double gap. It just looks to me like that's the magnet without any more real news in it. And more in the SMH space, we've got Clack, which is actually holding up a little bit better. Unfortunately, it's got about half the volume of the previous high. Now that's going into earnings again, so I'll give it a little bit of grain of salt. On May 27th, 372.34. I remember the days of trading Click and Clack. Anyway, 1.5 million shares. Got about half that right now going into earnings. So it doesn't sound like anybody knows anything. Maybe some people think that they do. One of the ones that I know people have been shorting, I think it's Chanos, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe somebody will tell me in the den out here. But I think it was Chanos that went short Digital Realty Trust, DLR. This is back up into the June 27th high. Me too, what? Short also Digital Realty Trust. Going back into 139.14, that's the June 27th high. You got about 1.4 million shares right now. So hard to say about that. Which Dave? Maybe somebody in that. Maybe the other Dave. Okay. Now, one that everybody's kind of planning on having a rough quarter is Beazer Homes. This one's, on a chart basis, if you didn't know that they were had earnings after the bell tonight, I would say, or have already had it? No, 415. I would say short the living daylights out of this one because it went up on almost half the volume that it came down on. And the only thing you've got is a little bit of volume up here at the top. My guess is a lot of people got short this thing and waited way too long. But it's hard to believe that interest rates going higher are not going to be tough for at least 18 months. And I don't think anybody's buying Beazer today to try to sell it in 18 months. I think they're buying it now. Okay. Okay, got that. Okay. Go through a couple more. Let's see out here. Okay. And see to anything. Okay, that's all after the bell tonight. Now tomorrow morning we're going to get into some of the others. XOM. Certainly light volume into the previous high, $93.24. Alec asks, did we ever figure out why we're selling all the crude to China? And I mean, they told us that they had to. Since all the stuff they have to, they don't. Makes me kind of wonder. I know that they introduced a bill to do that, and it got shot down incredibly quickly in the Senate yesterday. So do I believe they really didn't want to sell it to China at a discount? No. Why are they doing it? Who knows? They believe it's a world market, so we're going to sell it to China. Maybe it's true, maybe it's not. I don't believe anything anymore. Anyway, light volume for Exxon. Back up to 93.24. It's kind of hard to feel fairly bearish on this. We'll be back in a minute, though.
Trusted source of analysis for bonds, metals, stocks, commodities, and options for years. And we are happy to announce that we are bringing that same caliber of analysis for the Forex market. Teddy Keckstad has 30 plus years of experience in Forex trading, commodity risk management, Forex hedging, volatility, and so much more. Teddy releases his weekly Tiger Forex report every Monday morning with elite coverage of all major currency pairs, including the DXY, Euro dollar, Pound dollar, Aussie dollar, dollar yen, dollar Swiss franc, and so much more. Teddy will recommend specific trades when the market presents them and provide updates throughout the week when warranted. For the month of July, inaugural members to the Tiger Forex Report will receive 25% off the monthly subscription for as long as they're subscribed. Just use promo code TEDDY25 to lock in the added savings. This offer is good only for the month of July, so do not miss your opportunity to save on the Tiger Forex Report. TFNN, educating investors.
The technology around us is changing every day. With so much happening, it can seem impossible to keep up with all the information. David White's investment newsletter, The Technology Insider, is designed to give you all the information you need to understand the technology that shapes today's markets and tomorrow's future. David White has made his living staying on the cutting edge of technology. His weekly newsletter will give you specific recommendations for value tech stocks, as well as entry prices, target prices, and stops to set for each trade. Dave delivers his weekly newsletters every Friday with updates throughout the week. You can get the Technology Insider at TFNN.com for only $37.50. Sign up for David's newsletter, The Technology Insider, and get an inside look at everything the technology sector has to offer. Try it risk-free today with our 30-day money-back guarantee. TFNN, educating investors.
Are China A-shares hot or not? If you trade China A-shares, now may be time to take a closer look. Trade CHAU or CHAD, Directions Daily CSI 300 China A-share Bull and Bear ETFs. China A-shares in either direction. Visit directioninvestments.com today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction shares at 866-476-7523. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
This program is brought to you by Vista Gold, traded on the NYSE American and TSX under the symbol VGZ.
And, of course, other energy stocks reporting tomorrow morning. You've got Chevron. It's also up on light volume to the previous high, 152.19. 6 of one, half a dozen. I don't know. Also, Phillips 66. See out here if there's anything out here. Certainly looks to me like the upside would be about $94 at this double gap. So that one probably has the most narrow one, at least forecast by the charts going in. What do we have out here? AstraZeneca in the biotech space. It doesn't say when, other than before market open. And of course, this thing just gaps everywhere. So I don't see a whole lot in this one way or the other. There may be. It's just not much in it. Of course, on the heels of Walmart pre-announcing, you got to think that some of these bigger ones like Procter & Gamble and Colgate would have problems, but not so much. Colgate, Palmolive, up on light volume, though. That is the scary part going into earnings. A lot of these don't have anything. Of course, the darling of the housing boom was Weyerhaeuser. Very interesting to see what they say tomorrow. If there's one that could really blow up tomorrow and drop 10-15%, I'm not forecasting it will. I'm just saying the setup is pretty good out here for Weyerhaeuser, depending on what they say going forward. But that's kind of it. Light volume last 3 or 4 days as it kind of hangs up. But of course, anytime you get a glut of buying like housing, and then of course a huge shortage for Weyerhaeuser in their wood business, then it turn around and then have huge production almost automatically shut off, always an issue. For those people playing Palantir, they'd probably want to be watching the people that brought you Mr. Snowden, and that is Alan Hamilton Booz, and see how they report tomorrow morning. That may get some pin action from that because they're basically in the same business. CBOE Global Markets, always hard to tell on that. So we got that for the morning. And of course, that's really, I think we had about 40% of the cap of all the markets report this week. So it's going to be kind of a more quiet week next week, even though we continue to have earnings. They just can't move the indexes quite the way that they did that way. Before market open on Monday, we're going to look at checkpoint, CHKP. And yeah, just in the trading range. I'm hoping that I'm going to stumble across one of these. After the bell on Monday night, Aflac, Mosaic. I haven't looked at Mosaic in a while. Let's take a quick look at that. A little bit of a bounce. I knew that there was some kind of deal going on about Russia and the Lord of War that they made a movie about, and some other stuff, and trying to get back the gal that was vaping that's still over there. But I don't think this is the same Mosaic, is it? No, it is. Same one as we've seen before. Produces markets phosphates and potash. So I'm wondering if they won't have a little pin action if anything happens with Russia. But keep an eye on that one. Okay, that's after market close. So again, not much happening then. We get into Tuesday. Back with a little bit more of the energy producers with BP on Tuesday morning next week. Not much happening there. You also have Caterpillar, which always seems to move the Dow quite a bit when it reports. It's coming up right against resistance, which is this double gap going back to the 22nd of June. Came down on 4 million shares. You're up into that on 1.4. Again, construction probably going to be waning. Pretty tough to write out much on that. Back to cereal malt beverages also on Tuesday with Molson Coors hanging out at the top. Probably not a bad play into getting into the sin stocks for any kind of recession. LDOS is another one. LDOS. Okay. And that very light volume back up into the June 7th high. In fact, very light volume on the way up, very light volume today with a little less than 300,000 shares into a 670,000 share high on June 7th, but I'm not going to do much in front of that. Got Ferrari next week, Gardner. So not much on that one. Let's take a look at Wednesday next week. CVS before the bell on Wednesday. And they just haven't been very busy down here, but I'm wondering if that isn't because of the heat. Everybody hiding out down here for the 2 months of weather where it's kind of miserable and hot and humid. And we watch all the vacationers come down here and sweat. We hide off in the new nice air conditioning for these 2 months. A good time to see some movies. To see if there's anything else. Regeneron, REGN, that we'll see out here on Wednesday next week. Come on. Oh, REGN, did I put it? REGN, right? Okay. Now, that doesn't look good at all, does it? Big, long doji out here today down to 560. Hardly getting out of its way. The only good thing is volume off this June 8th high, and energy was very light back into this low today. Also have some more of the VAX stocks with mRNA, Moderna, also not doing much. Of course, they're trying to stir this up, and I'd be watching this one coming into the fall. You do have a very light volume pullback from this 187.3, setting up next month. We'll be back in a minute. Wrap it up.
Vista Gold owns and operates the largest undeveloped gold project in Australia, the Mount Todd Gold Project. Vista Gold just completed their feasibility study, resulting in a 7 million ounce gold reserve. Vista Gold has all major permits approved and has retained CIBC capital market assistance in evaluating alternatives and in completing an accretive transaction. Vista Gold trades on the NYSE American and TSX under the ticker symbol VGZ. Vista Gold, executing a strategy to create shareholder value.
You might think that if you want to be successful at trading in the stock market, you're going to need a crystal ball. After all, it's impossible to predict the future, right? Like any endeavor in life, before you decide it's impossible, get some advice from the experts. You might find that it's not so impossible after all. For daily market overviews that give you direction on the key indices, selective stocks, and commodities, subscribe to the Opening Call newsletter at TFNN.com. The Opening Call newsletter is written by Basil Chapman, creator of the trading methodology known as the Chapman Wave. The Chapman Wave up-down sequence gives you an edge in identifying price turns, finding the peaks and valleys in stock prices. Get the Opening Call newsletter by Basil Chapman in your inbox every day. First-time subscribers also get a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you're not satisfied, let us know, and you'll get a full refund within 30 days of signing up. TFNN.com, educating investors.
Everything in the universe is governed by the Fibonacci sequence. This mathematical principle is responsible for everything from the most aesthetically pleasing artwork to patterns in the stock market. To stay on top of stock patterns you can take advantage of, sign up for the Fibonacci 24/7 newsletter at TFNN.com. When you subscribe, you'll get a weekly report from veteran day trader Larry Pesavento on stocks you need to pay attention to. And you can trust Larry's analysis. After all, he's got 45 years experience as a day trader. Larry will also provide daily charts, videos, and data on the key markets that he's tracking. Expect notifications from Larry on market movement you need to act on at any time. First-time subscribers also get a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you're not satisfied, let us know and you'll get a full refund within 30 days of signing up. Subscribe to the Fibonacci 24/7 newsletter today. TFNN.com, educating investors.
TFNN has launched the Tiger's Den. Hosted at Discord, TFNN has been educating traders for more than 20 years with live programming hosted by a variety of professional traders during market hours. The Tiger's Den, available to all tigers and tigresses for just $1 for the year. There's no catch or added costs when you join our community of traders. Sign up today and become a part of this educational community of traders. Just visit the front page of TFNN.com.
Catch Tom O'Brien, professional trader and educator, founder of TFNN. Also, a special guest on CNBC. Tom will bisect and dissect the markets. The Tom O'Brien Show, next on TFNN.
And as we get back going into next Thursday, got a couple more eBay. Again, is it bounced? It has, but going into a 17 million share high. That's the May 31st high into today with about 3 million shares. So I don't know if there's a lot more on the vine before earnings on that one. And of course, we've got MGM Resorts with China kind of opening back up for a minute. And maybe doing something next week. But you got huge resistance in this gap down from to June 10th with 7.5 million shares. You're into it today with 2.6 million shares. So I don't think that there's a great deal more to be had for that going into earnings. One that seemed to have a lot of action every time the market comes back higher, or did for a number of years, was Mercado Libre. And it's just back up. It's filled its gap down. Had a lot of energy on the way down. This big candle on the 9th of June came down on 677,000 shares, up today on 423,000 shares so far. So maybe you get there, maybe you don't. But energy is not all that exciting on that one. So I think we have a market that's kind of lackadaisical, but at the same time, looks to me like they're going to put the pedal to the metal during fund buying into next week and try to get these things up. If volume really doesn't pick up here shortly, then probably we're going to see some decent highs. But again, you got to kind of think that they're going to hold this up through at least next Wednesday. And not enough in earnings to really kind of shoot these down. It's more about tonight, isn't it? And tomorrow. So when you can, not when you have to. We will be back tomorrow like a bad rash.
Building wealth trading in the stock market seems impossible